Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Hussain Raza from Century 21 Innovative Realty. We are at episode number 16, and today I've got a longtime childhood friend on the show and a great individual, a professional who I have been waiting to interview, and I know it's going to be a really fun show. And I've got Hussain Abbas from CPA Logic. Thanks, Hussain, for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Hey.
And
Thanks for having me, man.
Hussain's going to basically talk to us about a bunch of things. So right now, this podcast is mostly real estate related, but I think when we spoke about what we're going to talk about, we kind of want to transition this into also real estate, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, business. And because you've been through all these steps yourself, I think you can probably give our audience a view as to how your experience is when it comes to entrepreneurship, mainly because a big chunk of this audience is younger individuals as well who want to start their own business. So I thought you'd be the perfect guy to come on the show and give us your perspective. So that's enough from me talking. Why don't you give us an introduction about who you are and your company as well?
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me, and I know we've been planning to get on this, and I'm really excited to be here and excited to chat about different topics. So a little bit about my background. I've been in accounting for a long time, and I don't know if that's fortunately or unfortunately. Graduated in accounting, and then I did the CPA CA designation a few years ago, and I've always had this entrepreneurial itch in me.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
Yeah, when I was even like 16, I think my first business was when I was 16 years old. I was buying perfume wholesale and selling it on eBay.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Now when I reflect back, it's kind of crazy and cool.
Yeah.
And then had that entrepreneurial thing, and so did my accounting and got a few clients and started transitioning to like an accounting firm, and into it now, and just full blown 24/7. Just working at that.
So how did you transition from a 9-to-5 and taking that leap of faith into a job? Because I know for myself, like a background story, I was also in accounting, and I worked for KPMG for about a year and a half. Didn't really work out for me, so I left, or they got rid of me in a better way. But I think for me, I was never really cut out for a 9-to-5. Just like you, I want to tell my business. But for you personally, were you scared to take that leap of faith, and how did you manage that?
Yeah, it's not something easy.
Yeah.
It was a discussion just to kind of in my mind and with everything to see how it would pan out. But at a certain point, I feel like you have to make some plans and you have to jump ship and see how it goes. Something might work out, something might not. But I think either way, you are a better person on the other side. You'll have a set of new skills, you'll have a set of new expertise, and that boldness that you take to even jump ship will come in handy with something down the line. It could be in a career as well later on. Entrepreneurship is not just nowadays it's so broad. Like even in a career, you could be in a place where it's very entrepreneurial.
Right.
So I think those skills come in handy. But I would say a calculated risk is good to have.
Yeah.
But there's no silver bullet there. It's not. I don't think it's a black and white thing.
Right.
You have to look at your family situation, your responsibilities, your cash flow, perhaps make a plan or have some savings. One thing I always love is kind of having, you talk a lot about investments and savings, and financial literacy also plays into it. If you have those type of investments, some investments, some cash flow here and there, it gives you options.
Yeah.
As long as you have options, then you can make some sort of moves that someone else might not be able to, who's like cash crunch.
Yeah. So in your situation where you mentioned these tips as to making sure you have these safeguards in place before starting, even for myself, when I started, thankfully I had my parents who were supporting me. So, I knew that I could take that 1 or 2 years and focus on the business, right? But I know a lot of people aren't as blessed as you and I were, and they're kind of on their own, right? But for those individuals, that may have a passion to start their own business, just like you, what if they want to start, but they're still scared? What kind of got you over that I would say, fear to kind of go all in? And do you ever doubt yourself that, maybe this might not work out?
Yeah, all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all human. We
Yeah.
all have all these type of different doubts. I think some planning comes in handy, as I mentioned, and also probably doing a lot of research. So I would say a couple of things. One is having that knowledge and resources to give yourself confidence. That's one. And second is you can kind of tiptoe yourself into it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to jump quickly into the deep end. You can kind of, feel it out. Maybe there's a lot of businesses and out there that start off with a side hustle. And like if you have some expertise, then our first step is you want to have some sort of expertise that you can sell, and that has value. You can create profit from it. I think that's good. And then once you have that, you can, along with your 9 to 5, you can kind of start getting some clients and kind of like feel it out, and see how much time is taking. And once you have a little bit of momentum, and then alongside that, I would say education. Education is not just formal. You have books. Books are really good resources. Right. Podcasts nowadays, podcasts like yourself.
Huge resource.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's so much content out there now in any field. I feel like if you stick to any one field, which is profitable, and you give it your all, the chances of you failing are pretty low.
Yeah.
The chance of success are very high.
Pretty positive mindset.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So I'd say those two things will give you a pretty good amount of confidence. To do that. You don't have to leave everything.
That's a good mindset. We were talking about mindset just before, like walking up here. Is that, half the job is just, you thinking that you can do it. And at the end of the day, my philosophy was, if I'm not going to try, right, I'll never know. So, okay, I might jump into a business like real estate. You jump into accounting yourself. You left your day job to take this risk. But if you never tried, you would never know. So I think for us, it's like you never want to live a life with no regrets.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what motivates you and I, right? So if anyone is listening out there, like Hussain said, have those safeguards in place, start saving, start investing. You don't have to kind of dive into your business, 24/7. Kind of do what me and him did, where we had some things set aside, and then you have your 9 to 5, you build your clientele. Slowly, as you see the snowball ripple effect of your business growing, then there's a point where you'll know, you got to jump in, because at that point, if you don't jump in, then you can't focus on the business either. Then you're kind of in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. But with your business right now, what are you finding in terms of lead generation? How are you finding your clients, and what are you doing to make a name for yourself out there in the industry and differentiate yourself from competition?
Coming on S and Raza podcast.
That's number one. Yeah, if you want to promote your business, got to come on this podcast. We'll get you out there.
Number one show out there for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think about that a lot, and it's like a lot of different things that I've done over time, and it's been a blessing, and I don't take that for granted. So referrals are definitely a good resource. One thing I've always done is try to focus on quality a lot, and actually not trying very, very hard to get clients. And so I find that that's kind of paid dividends. Okay. And so a lot of my clients, they'll refer other clients. And so the word kind of spreads that way. Alongside that, social media, I've done some research on there, and I think there's a lot of potential there. And I put out a few videos on TikTok, on Instagram, and YouTube. I got some leads from there and some clients from there. And so like it hasn't been one resource, one source, and it's like all these different little acts that I did over time, over the years, I would say, which accumulated to getting a bunch of clients, and then over time it just kind of expanding from there.
Nice. So I mean, talking about your TikTok video, I know one of your videos had like over 1 million views, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So talk about that one, and how did it generate that much of a response?
Yeah, TikTok is a crazy. Very young. I find very young audience there. And if something goes viral, it just goes viral really quick. I haven't even posted that many on there.
Right.
But one day I was sitting on my sofa. And
that's where the best ideas come from.
Pretty much. And I was sitting on my laptop on my sofa, and I was reading some news. Although I knew about this little thing, but But while I was reading the news, like finance news, I try to read every day.
Yeah.
So while I was reading, I saw that, there's a lot of uncashed checks that people in Canada, Canadians haven't cashed in.
Right.
And so I was like, maybe I can make a quick clip on how to find out if you have uncashed checks. Yeah. So literally right there, this all happened within 4 minutes, probably. Yeah. 3.5 minutes. So I was like reading that. I went on my CRA login, took out my phone, and just like a 10, 15 second clip. It's like, if do you have uncashed checks? Do you even know that you might have them? Click here. It'll show on your my CRA website. And that's it. I posted it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it just caught fire.
It just went viral.
Yeah, it just caught fire. It was crazy. And then the people found a lot of money. That's one of the main reasons, because people kept finding money and they kept commenting. Wow. And so, some people found like $3,000. Yeah. Some people found a couple of $100. Wow, okay. Some people found a couple of bucks. So that's
crazy. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool.
And that's cool. I mean, you're providing that value in your business industry, which I feel maybe a lot of others may not. I mean, they may be great professionals, right? But I think where you differentiate yourself is through the social media and creating that market share for yourself in that viral environment. And I guess talk about a little bit just in general about your industry specifically in accounting. There's obviously a lot of firms out there, right? Including yours. Where do you kind of see yourself, in the next 5 years with your business specifically? And what are some advices you can give to somebody that, they can take their business, far and long term? What are you doing? What steps are you taking to do that?
Yeah, that sounds like an interview question, man.
Well, it is an interview.
I thought we were just trying it. No.
We want to know your secrets, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, first of all...
By the way, when I ask you these questions, like, I'm also learning, so I want to get your perspective. Yeah. So I know my viewers are listening, but this is good for me as well. So this is really informative.
Yeah, no. First, I want to say that I'm no expert. I'm not like some business guru.
Be humble.
I'm literally no. I promise. Yeah. I'm literally. I really feel like a baby. I'm just like starting off, trying to learn some things, and as I'm learning it, I'm glad to share with people who investors and entrepreneurs, because I think like we should all be looking at investments and entrepreneurship with some angle, right? Because that's the best way to grow and create like a better life for ourselves and our families. So like 5 year, I'm not sure, to be honest. It's tough, but I like to take it one day at a time. Yeah. I do have like a vision of like where I would want to be, but I like to kind of think of creating systems, creating goodness, doing good work, and kind of seeing the results. Kind of go from there, right? Nice. So I think if it also puts a little bit less pressure on yourself. At the end of the day, we don't need to become millionaires. I mean, it's good if we do. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you're doing good service and providing good support and taking care of your client, helping people out, I think things will kind of grow from there. And I think if you have that focus, then the result will come somehow.
Yeah, that's insightful, man. So next one, what are your strengths and weaknesses? I'm kidding. No, but
I was studying that one before I came.
real question here is, so you have a family, I have a family. We're obviously in the business, and sometimes we're required to, work overtime. But how are you balancing your time when it comes to family, work, and everything else that's going on in your life?
Yeah, that's a tough one. There's no balance.
There's no balance.
There's no balance. First of all, I think being organized has helped. Trying to be organized, really. I find that if I try to follow a morning routine, I read this book called A Miracle Morning.
I read that.
But
It's a good one.
It's really cool. And I'm not really good at it. I get good at following those steps. But I feel like the days when I strive to do it every day. The days that I do, I feel like the rest of the day goes well. And I'm more organized, more focused, and things like that. So I think if your day starts off well, I think the day will go well as well. Nice. And one thing is there's so many distractions. Our phone is like the biggest distraction in the world. So I'm again like this is an ongoing struggle, but I feel like if I'm able to schedule when I look at my emails and my phone
Yeah.
during the day. Let's say I give myself like a 4-hour block to just do work or something focused, and then look at my phone after 4 hours. Then I'm able to kind of be a bit more organized and get some more time. But yeah, with kids, it's obviously it's not easy, as you know.
It's a balancing act. For sure.
So that's what it is, I think.
I have a timer on my Instagram at 30 minutes. So it tells me, okay, you've spent this many minutes, time to get off Instagram, but I always go past that. So I just press okay, and it's
override.
Override.
You got to give the password to your wife.
I got to do something. But no, this is awesome, man. Like, this is like, look, at the end of the day, you're an accountant. I think everyone might be expecting, okay, what are some technical tax tips you can give us? But that's not what this show is going to be about, because I think what people really want to know is who you are as a person, and people want to work with people they like. So this is showing your personality, and if they like you, they'll work with you. The tax tips, technical stuff, you can find out online. You can book a meeting with him directly and do that stuff. But this is who Hussain Abbas is and who his company is, and he's showing who he is. And really, honestly, like, I'm not just sugarcoating it. Like, I've really admired the steps you've taken. I've known you since we were like little kids, running around at our community center. And to see you floor hockey and UFC, you name it, like it was crazy. But to see where you've come from so far, and you're getting because I know how hard that CPA exam is. I went through maybe 1/3 of it, and it wasn't my cup of tea. But you went through, you followed through, so that's a big accomplishment. So kudos to you on that. But I know you want to talk a little bit about tech in the business, right? We were talking about tech as well downstairs. Kind of give us some ideas as to tech in accounting and what are you seeing out there, AI and whatnot, and how is it impacting your business, your career in general?
Yeah, technology is kind of like taking over the accounting industry, and I actually find that the like a smaller firms and smaller companies are through smaller firms are adapting to more advanced technology faster than bigger companies. Like I worked at some bigger companies as well. And they have like big ERP systems and all that. But in terms of AI, automation, and all these things, the accounting space has changed a lot. And so, I almost feel like 50-70% of my work is really related to technology. And that's the reason why I think it's a good topic. Definitely. A client comes in, like the way we deal with it is a client comes in, we want to see like all the different apps and technology we can integrate to help them out. So I can go through a few of them. One is, you'll have a accounting software. So it could be QuickBooks or Xero, and everything is cloud now as well. And so now you have your bank account integrated to this accounting software now. And then to have the backup of all the transactions, like receipts, the days are gone where, you have a box full of receipts and you give it to your accountant. I don't even take any of that. It'd just be like, if you have receipts, please just scan them. We're completely paper free. So, you have receipt software that'll kind of do the OCR technology, scan everything, and then we are able to use that to kind of attach to the transactions with the accounting bookkeeping in the software. So what that does is it makes it audit-proof. So if CRA comes in tomorrow and they say, give us all the backup for your meals and entertainment expenses. So now it's a matter of a couple of clicks. We can take it out and give it to them, and they'll hopefully go on their way and not bother us. So, that's one part. Another cool, so that there's two apps that I talked about. Another cool app is like an accounts payable app. So, like let's say a busy business owner, they have 50 invoices to pay on a monthly basis. When you get busy, I find, I've been lucky to work with a few busy entrepreneurs, right? And then literally, 5 years ago, I would have never thought that this could be a problem for someone where, they have invoices and it takes such a big part of their daily life to pay that they don't even want to deal with it. You think, we get a credit card bill, we pay it off, it's not a big deal. But as your business grows, as some businesses grow, they have so many invoices, it's hard to pay them. So now there's an app which basically integrates between this accounting and the receipt software, pulls in the invoices, and then we do some work there. And then it pushes out a list of all of the invoices that need to be paid. The person can go in once a month the owner can go in once a month, click, review the receipt, accept, and then click, review, accept. And then now all of the payments are going to be made directly. Yeah, completely streamlined. So that's something I really enjoy about this business is all the technology part of it, and that's where it's heading. And the good part about that is you're able to provide more value to the clients with advisory services, like focusing on analysis and data analysis, projections, budgeting, reviewing the financials, and having those conversations instead of sitting there and manually tracking all these transactions, recording receipts. You don't want the bookkeepers to be doing that either. So it's like, it really helps with everybody, and I think that's where it's going to keep heading with the AI technology as well.
So with AI or technology coming in, I mean, for a lot of people, they're worried about that it's going to take over their jobs. But I think what you're saying is that it can actually be a benefit in some way because it's going to help you do your job even better, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I think it's a changing landscape. So any accounting firm, like we all have to be comfortable with technology, and we have to not only embrace it but adapt to change, to it, and kind of go with it. And for me, it works out because I was kind of like into technology. I was a little bit of a tech geek before, and so it's not bad. I like it.
No, this is good, man. I mean, I think we want to touch on a couple of more things with you in terms of financial literacy. So that is obviously goes intertwined with accounting and savings and whatnot. I think financial literacy is something that is seriously lacking in our country and in our community. And it's the reason why a lot of people are in debt right now, and why maybe they can't afford to buy a home or they can't afford to pay their expenses because we're kind of living beyond our means, right? So when you talk to a lot of people day to day, businesses and companies, and just general people, what are some things that you notice that people are doing that's kind of impacting their finances? And I mean, just your opinion, like why is financial literacy so important nowadays, and for our kids and their generation going forward?
Yeah, definitely. It's a big topic, and it's an important topic.
Yeah.
And I think people are getting more aware of this. So I think it goes back to the school system too. Even
that's a big,
we went to school, we did accounting and courses and all that. And, even throughout the whole CPA process and everything, like done all that. And the funny thing is I had to learn how to read a credit report on my own, or even what a credit is. And it was like a couple of years after I graduated. So I think, part of it is rightfully so, the education system is to blame. But that makes it even more important for people to kind of go out and learn these things on their own, right? Like, getting their first house, that's something that you help out a lot on, and savings and things like that. So yeah, I think it's very important at the end of the day. And I think now, but one thing I would say is because there's this vacuum, there's this gap in the educational system not providing this education to people. Okay, so people now recognize, there's this issue there, right? And now I need to seek it. But the right thing is not to go on TikTok or YouTube and start following 16-year-olds who are flashing cash and and talking about stocks and get rich. Right. I think a lot of people are actually falling victim to that. So I think the right thing to do would be
such a good point.
The awareness is there, but now the next step is let's kind of take it to the next step and follow credible resources, credible sources.
Right.
Follow the right channel, follow people you trust. Even get referrals, right? And so this is where experience and this and thing comes in handy. So yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. But there's a lot of good content out there. A channel like yourself is providing all this information for free. People can, it's better than getting an MBA, I think.
That's all, man. You just opened up a Pandora's box right there, which I could talk about for hours, but I guess another podcast for that.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's good, man. I think for me in general, like financial literacy, our parents were, pretty conservative, in their growing up, and just bring us up, and myself in particular. Like my father is the kind of guy like, you want coffee? Why are you buying a coffee? we can make it at home. But that constant, that reminder, helped me and my siblings, because now it's like we think twice, about buying something. Not that we're cheap or anything or whatever, but it's just financially being responsible. And I've made several mistakes, of course, not to say I'm perfect, but one thing that really helped me was just my parents' education about financial literacy. Like, that was massive. And second thing is, reading the right books and following the right content, because I've been victim of following the wrong people and just getting excited and then putting my money into something and why the hell did I do that? Right? I just lost $2,000, right?
Yeah.
So find the right people. But then there's one book, if you haven't read it, you should definitely check it out. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. That was a game changer for me. And basically, very simple book. It's a novel. It's a fiction, but story about this individual and how he goes through mistakes. But he learns from his mentor on how to save his money. And very simple rules. Basically, whatever money you earn, right? 1/10 of that is yours to keep, basically. So we pay everybody else, but we don't pay ourselves, right? And his philosophy is like, if you're, whatever income you're earning, you save 30%. Out of that 30%, 10% goes to investing, 10% goes to saving, and 10% goes to charity, right? And when you do that, you still have 70% to live off of, which is a lot, right? And that 70%, do whatever you want with it. You want to spend it, you want to save it, whatever you want. But 30% is yours to keep. And obviously, you don't have to start with 30%. You start with 5%, even 2%, 5%, 10%. But the key is to get into that habit of saving, because if you can't save $50 a month, you're not going to save $1,000 either, right?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So financial literacy is huge. And I think we're going to have more discussions or podcasts about that, because I'm very passionate about that, but I don't want to keep rambling about that right now. We're going to end it off very soon. Just a couple more questions. I want to kind of dive into current news and environment. So not sure if you're following the strike that's happening. It's May 4th today. May the 4th be with you, by the way. But what's happening with the strike, and what are the ramifications, if anything?
Isn't CRA always on strike?
Oh, wow. Another Pandora's box. Oh, this guy's killing it.
I mean, you call CRA, don't you realize they're always on strike?
So no difference, basically. No difference. Business as usual.
Yeah. No, you know what's cool?
Just going hard.
No, what's cool is the only cool thing about that is, if they delay the refund, they're going to pay 7% interest compounded daily on your refund.
Okay.
So it's kind of good, like them be on strike for a few months. If you have a $10,000, you might get $1,000 or something out of it.
We're going to clip this reel. So make sure we get this one up.
Besides that, nothing much has really changed, because so much of it is electronic that, those are all online. They never change the deadlines. Yeah. So everything has to be submitted at the same time. The payment deadlines are the same. So in that sense, from, our perspective, from my perspective, the work hasn't really changed. The only thing is, if you need to get hold of them, it's even longer now. Yeah. And so might as well not try till they're actually back and the backlog is fixed. There might be delay in refunds that you're getting, because on average, actually, Canadians get about $1,300. So I think that's what I read recently in a stat, in refund on their personal taxes. Okay. So, that's an average. Yeah. So some people get 10, 20 as well. So.
Good perspective right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So last couple of questions just on the personal side, just kind of get to know a little bit about you more. I'm going to ask some fun rapid fire questions for you, which I'm sure you didn't prepare for either.
Sweating already.
First question is, where is your favorite place to travel? Some place you have not been before.
Probably Egypt.
Egypt, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. The pyramids.
Looks like the pyramids, the mummies.
Yeah. Nice.
Although I don't know how much are actually there. Yeah. They're probably in Europe now.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I think Egypt would be pretty cool, because like even the science and the history behind it. Yeah. We don't know how they came up with all these things, all these theories. Yeah. So probably Egypt.
Nice. What's your favorite movie you've watched before? If you've watched movies or TV shows, one thing that you keep going back to over and over again.
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, no way.
Legendary. Yeah.
That's my favorite, man.
Lord of the Rings
and Star Wars is my go-to.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. I did I really got into it at a certain point. I read all the books. So I did like a whole study on it on my own for no reason. So I would read the book and then I would watch the movie and then I would like analyze the differences between.
Well, we should talk after it.
Yeah. So I actually did that. I read each book and then from The Hobbit to the books to the movies and then
favorite character in LOTR or
Bilbo.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's actually the main character.
Yeah.
He's the one who makes the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frodo is just kind of
he's an annoying little nephew there.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's good. I didn't know you were into Lord of the Rings. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Last question. What's the best piece of advice somebody has given you?
In terms of entrepreneurship, it's good to kind of say yes to like everything so that you can learn as much as possible and just like put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably because, I met my cousin who's he's been an entrepreneur for a long time.
Yeah.
And so like very early on, it was just a couple of sentences, but it comes in handy. So he said, just don't say no to anything in your field.
Yeah.
And then just keep going at it. And then there'll be a time where you'll have that opportunity to say no. And so I think like when you're starting off, it's good to be hungry and I'm still starting off, so I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
And it's good to kind of go out there, explore and take a little bit of risk. And then, you'll get to a point where you're able to say no.
Great. How can people get in touch with you or contact you by email or your Instagram?
Sure. Couple of links, I guess. YouTube, I'm trying to go more on YouTube. So I would say the YouTube handle is Hussain.a.
Okay.
And my email, Hussain@cpalogic.ca.
Perfect.
Probably the two main areas.
Nice.
Check out my website, cpalogic.ca. Pretty straightforward.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We'll have your information in the comments below as well. So you can reach out to Hussain directly. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Really
thanks so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. This was fun.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the content, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we're going to bring some more information for you next time as well. Thank you so much, guys, and have an amazing day.